Introduction. The power of walking away. What if the very moment you stopped chasing was the exact moment she began to feel your absence like a phantom pain? What if all the energy you gave, all the texts you sent, all the late-night conversations, and last-minute plans you thought they showed your love, but they were actually the reasons she stopped valuing you? That's the harsh paradox no one wants to talk about. The harder you try, the faster she runs. In today's video, we explore the stoic man's ultimate transformation, a journey from heartbreak to power, from overgiving to untouchable. This isn't a story about revenge. This is about becoming unshakable. Stoicism teaches one thing above all: mastery over your emotions, real control, true detachment. Not coldness, not cruelty, but clarity. Because when you stop chasing, stop explaining, and finally sit in your silence, something shifts. She starts to feel the weight of your absence. Not because you ghosted her, not because you're playing games, but because you finally remembered who the hell you are. And once you do, everything changes. Chapter 1. The Fall. When you gave too much, you gave her everything. Your time, your focus, your loyalty. You made her the center of your universe. Every text was answered within seconds. Every plan was rearranged for her convenience. Every red flag was ignored in the name of love. You thought, if I just love her harder, she'll see my worth. But instead, she pulled away. Here's why. The more you gave, the less she respected you. The more you chased, the less attractive you became. The very traits that once made her gravitate toward your independence. Your mission? Your boundaries faded? You didn't lose her because you weren't enough. You lost her because you stopped being the man she was drawn to, decisive, grounded, purpose-driven. Instead, you orbit her. You became soft, not emotionally open, but emotionally needy, dependent. That's when nature corrects the imbalance. She leaves, but in that loss, you awaken. The man who begged stays behind. The man who rises walks forward with fire in his veins and focus in his eyes. And that's just the beginning. Chapter 2. The silent stop. Explaining yourself. You sent the texts. The long, vulnerable paragraphs. You poured out your heart, hoping she'd respond, hoping she'd understand. But silence was your answer. Or worse, she left you unread. Here's the truth most men don't want to hear. Explaining yourself doesn't earn respect, it erodes it. When someone knows they have your attention unconditionally, they stop valuing it. Stoicism teaches discipline through silence. When you stop trying to prove your worth, your silence becomes your statement, and then she notices, not immediately, but over time, that silence grows louder than any desperate words ever could, because women are used to men folding, chasing, crumbling under distance, but not you, not anymore. Now you don't send texts, you send results. You stop reacting and start building. You become the storm she never saw coming. Chapter 3. The mirror, become who she thought you were. She didn't fall for the guy who replied instantly. She didn't fall for the man who dropped everything just to be available. She fell for the version of you that had a mission. A man who didn't need her to feel complete. A man with gravity, with fire, with presence. Somewhere along the way, you softened, not in a vulnerable way, but in a forgettable way. Now, you rebuild. Not to impress her, to remember yourself. You hit the gym not to get revenge, but to reclaim discipline. You chase your purpose, not to make her regret, but because that's who you are. And when she sees you again transformed, she won't just feel loss. She'll feel haunted, because you became the man she always dreamed of, but not for her. Chapter 4. The Shift. You're not her therapist, you thought. Love meant absorbing her pain. You were her listener, her comfort, her emotional crutch. She unloaded, you absorbed. She vented, you consoled. And eventually, she blamed you. And you stayed. Why? Because you thought your patience would prove your value. It didn't. It proved your lack of boundaries. You weren't her boyfriend. You were her unpaid therapist. But Stoicism teaches discernment. Compassion is not submission. You are not her emotional punching bag. You are not responsible for her healing. And the moment you realize that everything changes, you stop carrying emotional weight that doesn't belong to you. You stop being her fallback, her safe space, her mirror. And in that silence, she is forced to see herself. Chapter 5. The Replacement. Let her wonder she used to know everything. Your location, your thoughts, your feelings. You gave her constant access. Big mistake. Predictability kills. Attraction. When someone knows they have you, your value drops. Now, you go dark. No cryptic stories. No emotional updates. No look at me posts. You vanish not to manipulate, but to evolve. Because silence forces her to ask the questions you no longer answer. Where is he? Who is he with? Has he moved on? Is he becoming the man I wanted, just not for me? You've cut the feed. And what replaces her isn't another woman. It's the version of you she never got to meet. Chapter 6. The Shadow. Use her rejection as a weapon. Rejection cuts, but it also carves. She left. She ghosted. Maybe she replaced you instantly. That sting you feel, that's your ignition. Stoicism doesn't teach you to numb the pain. It teaches you to use it, weaponize it. Get up at 5 a.m., hit the weights, build the business. Turn pain into progress. Because every rep, every grind, every quiet win, that's your answer. Not to her, it's yourself. And one day when she stumbles across your evolution, it won't just surprise her, it'll haunt her. Chapter 7. The Throne. Reclaim your time and space. You gave her your time like it was free. Skipped workouts. Delayed goals. Rearranged your schedule. All to be available. And she treated your time like it was worthless. But now, you reclaim your throne. You rise early. You protect your calendar. Yes. You focus on legacy. Because attention is currency. And yours is no longer up for grabs. She noticed not your absence, but your momentum. And that's something she can't touch. Chapter 8. The Frame. Don't chase. Attract you used to chase. Her texts, her validation, her attention, but that energy had backfired, 'cause chasing flips the frame. You give power, she takes it now. You rebuild the frame. You are the frame. She enters your world or she doesn't. Either way, you remain centered, the man who doesn't. Chase is the man who becomes magnetic, because stoic attraction is born not from trying harder, but from needing less. Chapter 9. The Echo. She feels the absence. She expected you to fold, to text again, to reach out, to relapse, but you didn't. And now, the silence echoes. She checks her phone. Nothing. She watches your stories. There are none. That vacuum, it makes her nervous, because for the first time, she's not in control. Silence isn't passive. It's active, strategic, surgical, and it screams, I've moved on. Chapter 10. The Ascension. She becomes irrelevant at first. Everything reminded you of her, but now, nothing does. You stopped replaying conversations. You stopped checking her feed. You stopped needing closure. You ascended, not out of bitterness, but because you finally saw your own worth. Now, she's not a chapter you reread. She's a page you've turned. You're untouchable, not because you're cold, but because you're clear. Clear about who you are, what you want, where you're going. She may regret. She may reach out. She may apologize. But by the time she does, you've already become the man she was never ready for, and that's the ultimate power. Oh, you tarot, become the man who moves for. No one knew. Don't chase. You don't explain. You don't break. You build. You lead. You rise. This is the stoic path. Sharp, focused, unshakable. If this message hit different, drop a comment below. I move for no one. Stay disciplined. Stay untouchable. Your silence is your storm. Your purpose is your revenge. And the next time she thinks about the man she once knew, she won't recognize him because he became a legend in his own story. Chapter 11. The Paradox. When she starts chasing you, you thought the silence would drive her away for good. That she'd never look back. But here's the twist most men never see coming. When you truly let go, she begins to chase. It doesn't happen immediately. It happens slowly, subtly. A like on an old post. A random "Hey, how have you been?" a song. Added to her story that you both once shared. These aren't coincidences. They're breadcrumbs. But here's where the stoic man differs from every other man. He doesn't take the bait. He doesn't rush in thinking the game has changed. He understands the paradox. The more he pulls away, the more she tries to pull him back, not out of love, but out of curiosity, out of ego, out of loss, because the energy shifted. The man who once chased has vanished, and in his place stands a mystery, unavailable, unreadable, untouchable. The moment she feels like she can't have you, it's the moment she starts wondering. Why? Chapter 12. The tests don't let her back into Iseline. Now she's calling. Now she's texting. Now she's asking, "Can we talk?" You feel the pull, the urge to respond. Echo of old feelings whispering, maybe she's changed. But this is the test. You don't open the door just because she knocks. Stoicism means discernment, not bitterness, not arrogance. Assess. You don't assume, you watch her actions, not her words. You remember. She once saw your worth and walked away. Letting her back in isn't a reward. It's a decision, one that must be earned, because you're not the same man anymore. And if she hasn't changed either, history will repeat itself. And this time, you won't survive it the same way. Chapter 13. The standard. What she must match. Now you've rebuilt. You've risen. You've reclaimed your mind. Your time, your mission. You've become a high-value man. Now the S.